a few weeks ago, we had someone on the red zone. They were wanting to make the signature link more visible because they had participants who were missing it. And during that red zone, I had worked with the person and showed them the CSS injector and was able to increase the font size of the signature link. But after the red zone, I took it upon myself to work on it a little more and see if I could convert the signature link into a more visible button. So that's what this project is. If we just look at the record here, so this is how the signature link is displayed normally in REDCap. And what I did was I'll go into the CSS module. I have it, the injector, I have it disabled right now, or not configured. So let me just copy these rules and put them in a notepad so you guys can see them. What I did was, the way I always work is I find the record. So what I'll do is I usually create a record that I can see where things are being displayed, and I usually just click inspect and open up the inspector in Chrome, because then I can figure out exactly which HTML element I need to attach a CSS rule to. So these are a little more different. These are a little difficult because it's an image. There's an image for this little glyph right here. And then there's a span with the text for add signature. And then that's wrapped in an anchor tag, which is then wrapped in a div tag. So each one of those things takes different values, and through some trial and error, I came up with these rules for the CSS injector. So what this first rule is saying is that I want to apply these background and text elements to anything that has an ID that starts with file upload. And I guess the specifics of this may not be important, because if you guys want these, I can just put this in the chat, and I'll probably put it up on the CB2 website along with the video so you can download the rules for yourself. But this is the div that's wrapping the link, and then this is just so it changes color when I hover on it, and then this is changing the text in the span for the add signature. This is changing the color and size for that and for the glyph. And then this is setting rules for the anchor tag, because in HTML, anchor tags automatically get a certain color and an underline when you hover on them and things like that. So I'm setting those rules here. The other thing I'm doing is I'm changing it to a display of block. So that way it fills the space, the entire space of the button. So instead of you having to hover your mouse over the text, you can hover it anywhere on the button. So I'll show you how it works. So I already have this set up. I just have to enable it. So once it's enabled, save it, and then I'll just refresh the example here. And this is what the button looks like now. And anywhere you hover over it, it doesn't have to be on the text. And plus I have the hover CSS, so it changes color so you know when you're on it. And if you click on it, it opens up the signature link like normal. The only thing is, if you have, the reason I have two of these is to show you that if you have the alignment set to right horizontal, you get this button. It basically fills up this whole side, which is what REDCap usually has for like the field width. But if you have it set to left vertical or left horizontal, it fills up the entire row. And that's because I have the display set to block, so it fills up all the space that it has. If you wanted this, button to be this width, you would have to specify a width value in the rule here. So I believe it's in this one for the block display. I think if we did like a width of 300 pixels, and you could, this would be another reason why it's good to have the, well, it'll change, it'll change because I just shrunk this, but if we have this full size here and I hit inspect, if I grab this and scroll down here, you'll see the div. You'll see here this 265 is the width of this div. And I believe when I did it the last time, it was like 311 or something like that. Yeah, you can see there. 311.420. So if we went into the rule and we set this to we set the width for that. We'll go back to this and apply that rule. Nope. Must be in one of the other divs. I think it's a top div actually. So I believe it was in this div, this top rule. So let me, there you go. So if you wanted your button to look that way, it would be, you would just have to set the width. Now, I believe this also modifies anything that has a file upload. Because I believe it treats this link as the same sort of hyperlink. We can check. I can't remember if I set that to ignore or not. So there you go. So if you have anything that's a hyperlink that has that file upload, and again, it's because when REDCap creates these fields, it automatically gives them an ID that begins with file upload. And the reason I did this is because it'll be like file upload underscore or dash, and then whatever your field name is. And so instead of you having to manually hard code a rule for each one of these, this just is a wildcard that takes anything that begins with file upload. And then you can, if you have, like Tanya likes to make buttons or colors that are, if something has a color palette that she's following, she likes to follow that. And so you could go in here and change the background of the buttons or the background of the text or things like that when you create your own rules for the buttons. So does anybody have any questions about that one? All right. And once again, I'll put the CSS rules and maybe a little comment to say like the width rule goes here if you guys want the width to be like this instead of all the way across. The person I made this for actually liked that it went all the way across, and Tanya liked that it went all the way across too, because it almost makes it impossible to miss because it's such a huge button. But you may want to be a little more, discreet about it and just not have it to be huge. But I'll put this on with the rest when we upload this to the CB2 website.